Hello and welcome. I am Whitney Cobran and I'm a love coach. I have been thinking about this week's topic and how it's related to finances. And I've been thinking about the ROI, the return on investment of coaching. And it's interesting because there are a lot of different kinds of coaches out there. And someone who hires a business coach might very easily look at the ROI. Well, I'm going to spend this much money on my coaching program. How much more money am I going to make in my business because of this? Or a career coach. Someone might hire a career coach, decide that they're going to spend a certain amount of money, but that they want to be making a certain amount of money by getting a new job, getting a promotion, or something along those lines. But a love coach, how do you measure the return on investment by hiring a love coach? And I found that this is a common struggle for a lot of people I speak with because they're just not used to putting money into themselves. And this really got me thinking about how do we monetize or how do we put value on happiness and on love and on having a healthy relationship? If you ask me, it's immeasurable. And it's the most important thing, more important than your job, more important than your money. I'll tell you a little bit about me and my story, and then I'll tell you a little bit about the coaching that I do and the types of problems I solve, the type of people that I help. So my story really starts as a kid. I remember being very sad, and my mom was asking me, "Whitney, why are you crying?" So I'm about 13 years old, and I was embarrassed to tell her, "No, Mom, don't worry about it. It's nothing. It's no big deal." "No, come on, tell me." And I say, "No boys like me." And it was a low moment for me. I really felt like I didn't measure up. I wasn't good enough. Other people were getting this and getting the attention, and I wasn't. And I can see now that a lot of this stems from my parents getting divorced when I was 4 years old. My family, we lived in different states, and I didn't get to see my dad. And deep inside, I had a yearning for that male figure, that male attention, that love, and that I wasn't getting. So fast forward to my 20s, and relationships were the Wild West. It was a minefield. I had no idea about having a healthy relationship. It was the epitome of hookup culture in that environment. And I had a lot of pain and suffering. And then there was a moment when I was looking back at the relationships that I had, which were few and not very long lasting. And I realized that I had always let the other person pick me. And when they pursued me, I would go along with it. And I ended up dating some people that I looked back and really couldn't understand what I even saw in them. So I had this epiphany at the moment that I was going to pick my next person and not just go along with what someone else wanted. So fast forward again to I'm about 30 and I'm in a relationship for about a year with someone who was really perfect on paper. I liked him from the moment I met him. Tall, adorable, great job. We had a lot of similarities, similar backgrounds, same exact age, and we had fun together. But he was emotionally unavailable. He was always somewhat distant. And after a year of dating, somewhat on and off, I told him, "You say you love me, but I just don't feel loved." And his response to me was, "Why don't you just push down your emotions like I do?" And that was another big turning point epiphany for me. I realized, oh, not only do I need to go pick someone that I like, but they also need to treat me the way that I want to be treated. And so those were a couple of my life changing moments. And at that moment, I started researching and learning, reading all the books about love and finding love and making love last. And I did get married. And then, unfortunately, my husband passed away, and I became a widow very suddenly, which was devastating. But in that process, I had a moment of realizing I didn't want to continue working in this corporate job, not home with my son. I really wanted something more fulfilling. And so that's when I became a matchmaker. And I have some couples who are still together, including my own relationship. But what I really noticed was there were clients I had that I could set up on date after date after date. And for some reason, it just wasn't working out. And so, looking back into all the research and learning that I had done in order to create a healthy relationship, I started coaching these clients. And I did my coaching certification program and worked with a feminine embodiment coach and have learned so much more since then about how we get into these patterns of, well, I'm just this way, patterns of reacting. And I've learned so much more about controlling ourselves. And so, as I have been coaching women, I've been doing a 6-month program, and I call it Create the Love Story of Your Dreams. But it's hard for somebody to believe that they could go from their current state of being stressed out, anxious, insecure, and feeling like they're never going to find anyone, feeling like they've failed over and over again. And going from that point A to point B of being in a happy, healthy relationship was a lot more than most people could handle. So what I've done is I've created a 3-month program, which is called Love Yourself and Love Your Life, because that's really the foundation. We can't jump ahead to making a relationship work and learning how to communicate with your partner or how to navigate online dating if you don't first love yourself. So, what does loving yourself look like? I mean, we've talked about what is love on this show, and love can mean so many different things to different people. You can love your grandma, you can love your cat, you can love your friend, you can even have love for an ex, but they're all somewhat different. So, what does self love look like? And I'll give you a hint, it's not getting a manicure every week. That might be part of it, taking care of yourself and your body. But if you're taking care of yourself, but your self talk is negative, then that's a big red flag. And what I've come to learn is that behind our thoughts, behind our emotions, and behind our actions and our results and our whole life, the compass leading that is our beliefs. And we get our beliefs from all of the people around us, from social media influences, from TV, from movies, magazines. And these beliefs get embedded in our subconscious and take the wheel. And we are not even aware that these beliefs exist most of the time. For example, if someone's in the habit of dating abusive partners, they consciously don't want to be doing this, but on the subconscious level, it's something that's been ingrained in them because of probably early childhood trauma or someone making them feel like they're not good enough and that that's all they deserve. So in this 3-month program of Love Yourself and Love Your Life, we really dissect and pull apart the subconscious beliefs that are driving behavior. Everybody has blind spots. They have beliefs or fears or habits that to them just seem normal. That's just everyday life. I'm just this way. This is how I've always been. This is how everyone is, isn't it? And so as a coach, it's my job to show them the blind spots, to shine a light on it, to readjust the mirror, the rear view mirror, to show them. And then not only to identify what are these beliefs, but to then create a new belief that someone would rather hold, that would direct their life in a different direction. And all of this is necessary to overcome feelings of insecurity, anxiety, depression. We have to adjust our beliefs, and we have to learn to accept ourselves as we are, instead of either living in the past. Oh, I was so beautiful in high school, or I think about Married with Children and Ed, is his name Ed Bundy? What was his name? Al Bundy. And he was always living in the past. He was reliving his high school football glory days. And it's amazing how many people still are that way. Or they're living in the future. Well, if I could just get that job, I would be happy. If I could just lose 5 pounds, I would be happy. But we're missing out on today. We're missing out on being happy today. And today is the one day that you used to look forward to. Today is the tomorrow that you used to dream of. Today is all there is in the moment. You don't know if you're going to even live beyond today. So this program is really about helping people to be present in the moment, conscious about their thoughts and their self-talk, and to really learn to love themselves. And by loving themselves, I mean to be compassionate towards themselves, to treat themselves kindly and well, to motivate themselves with the carrot instead of the stick, to not berate themselves and put themselves down, but to encourage and celebrate little wins and progress instead of expecting perfection. Once you love yourself, you can begin to create a life that you love. So many of us are not happy with our life the way it is. Again, we're either living in the past or living in the future, waiting for that perfect thing that's going to fix everything, waiting for that perfect person or that perfect job or that perfect body. And we're not actually present and enjoying the present moment. So loving your life is about first accepting where you are now, but then also learning the skills that it takes to motivate yourself in positive ways to have the things that you want. Because life is a challenge. We have to be challenged. We have to push ourselves, because every living thing on this planet is either growing or dying. So are you dying or are you growing? That's the question. want to open it up for questions if you guys would like to chat a little bit about loving yourself and loving your life.
Yeah, it's funny because as you're saying that, I'm in my head, I'm playing Whitney Houston's song, "Learning to Love Yourself is the Greatest Love of All." I'm like, hey, Whitney's doing Whitney's song.
Yes, that is so true. It is. It's the greatest love of all.
So you're basically you're talking about something that has been around for a few thousand years. Lao Tzu, I think, said it, that if you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. And if you're at peace, you're living in the present.
Yes.
But like you said, the present isn't really present if we're running this program from when you were 7 years old. So your
Yeah.
job is to say, stop that 7-year-old. Come to me
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Now, how are you doing now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to dive into this new program because it is exceptional. Whitney, I think that whoever yeah, you have as a client is definitely going to gain the rewards of that. Because of course, I've said this before, even on this program with you, is that you only can love someone as much as you have the capacity to love. And a lot of times we block ourselves from either giving love or receiving love. But love in itself is very cyclical because it's like, especially when it comes to two people, it can't be one way. If it's like it's off balance, if it's just flowing one way, and you have to be able to give and receive
Yeah.
love, and that takes a process that I believe that people, as in general, we all need help with that, and that's what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
And if you can't accept your own flaws, how do you expect someone else to accept your flaws?
Wow. Exactly. I mean, you have to kind of like have that peace. There's a scripture that in the Bible it says, love thy neighbor as you love yourself, right? Sounds very simple when you quote it, but I think the part that people miss is, they emphasize love thy neighbor. I've seen people kind of like highlight that part and totally skip the part about loving yourself. And that loving yourself part is the basis of loving your neighbor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
huge.
it's like that's not the part to skip.
You know what's
That is
what
not the part to skip, because if you don't, I've realized I'm going to say this because I do love the subject, right? I realize that people treat other people how they treat themselves.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's evident of that. It's like if they don't forgive themselves in a certain area, they're definitely not going to forgive you. I
yeah,
mean,
when I see
facts.
when I see someone that's like grumpy and mean and everything, my first impression is these people don't love themselves enough that they're able to give love away. They're still like, "Ah," it's like, what I used to say, I used to be mad, now I'm just amused. And
Yeah.
and I don't get angry at people. I feel sorry for them. The people that are just hating everything. I'm like, there's just so little love in your heart that you don't have enough for yourself and you can't spread it around. So
Yeah.
I basically feel sorry for those people.
Well, yeah, Oscar, you're illustrating the opposite of that also, which is when you have compassion for yourself, you learn to have compassion for other people. And you can look at someone who's, "Argh," and you have compassion for them, knowing, wow, their struggle must be
Yeah.
really tough. It must be really difficult to be that person. You want to cut in front of me? Go ahead. There,
Mhm.
there you go. I'm good. I'm okay. I could be one shopping cart behind or one car length behind. I'll be fine.
Go for it.
You
Yeah, it's okay.
you obviously need this more than I do.
I mean, that's the power of knowing yourself.
Yeah.
The power of knowing yourself is that you hold yourself accountable for your own emotions. And that is like, nobody gets control, right?
Yeah.
You are the lead role in your own life, and you're aware of it. So somebody comes into your space, it's not like a violation. It's just a matter of, okay, you're in a different space. I'm good where I'm at. I'm not going to let your energy and your space affect my space. So, you know what? Wrestle, because it's like, for the most part, that person is wrestling with themselves on the inside here, right? And so a lot of times the conflict isn't
With you.
you. The fight isn't you, it's not, you're not the thing. It's like you said, they're wrestling with that inner child, even the child that's been, neglected, abandoned, abused. All that person is still in there trying to raise that child himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, okay, I know I'm dysfunctional, but
No, you don't know you're
dysfunction is all I
dysfunctional.
know.
That's the problem. People don't know they're dysfunctional, and they take it out on everybody else.
Yeah, but
So it's like, it's your fault. It's your fault.
And another word for dysfunctional is coping. They're
Yeah.
coping the best way that they can. They just haven't learned a better way to cope with this daily struggle of life.
They don't have a
And
love
so-
coach.
Yeah.
I think that everybody should have one. Everybody, if they're watching this and they don't realize that they're on their seventh husband or their seventh wife, or their
After the
seventh
third one, it's you.
or
It's
their
you're the
seventh
problem.
partner, and it's always, well, he just didn't treat me right, or she just didn't treat me right. Here's what she did. She left the toilet seat up, or she didn't do her makeup right, or she was too fat, or she was too skinny, or, everything points to the other person. And it's like I was teaching my nephew, that one of my nephews, he's small, but we had, he's what 13 or something like that. And he was talking about his grades. And he's like, it's because of this person, or it's because of this why I'm not getting good grades. But I was trying to make this point to him that if you keep that mentality in life, right, you're never going to take responsibility for your life. So all your failures is going to be somebody else's fault. And the only thing you need is to own it. The moment you get to the place where you own your own emotions and you own your own results, you realize, wait a minute, I have the power to change this. Right? I mean, isn't that something that you discover, Whitney?
Yes, that's a foundational part of my program too. But what I also find is there are reasons that people blame. And we have to also look at the reasons why they're blaming someone else. And it might be that they feel inadequate, that they feel that they don't have the skill set to be able to handle their own responsibility, emotions, life choices. So it's a process. It's important to first identify, how are you being a victim in your life? How are you not taking responsibility for your life? Is it everyone else's fault around you? Is it the economy's fault? Is it, there's only so much time that you could live in the excuses. So yeah, taking responsibility, I call it radical responsibility, because it's more than just taking care of what you need to take care of. It's like you said, it's owning your own emotions, owning your own reactions, and acting in a conscious way. And it should be, what happens is a lot of people look at that radical responsibility and find it to be overwhelming, and they feel weighed down by it. It's like, oh God, you mean my whole life is my fault? Oh. But we want to get to the point where they say, you mean my whole life is up to me? And they feel
Right,
empowered by it.
right.
And they realize that they do have the ability to create the life that they want and to love their life, to find
Mhm.
balance between work and family and friends and having fun and eating right. And it's the constant daily struggle to find this balance of a life that you're happy in and that you can love and enjoy. And that's when someone's ready to meet someone. One of the reasons that online dating doesn't work for the majority of people is because they haven't gone through these steps of loving themselves and loving their life. They're unhappy with themselves and they project it onto others, or the other person is doing that. They're not happy with themselves and they're projecting it onto you. And so it's just such a minefield of unhealthy, unhealed, unloved people that it's frightening. So, that's another reason that I get clients is that I do get some clients who are ready to meet the one. They want to
Mhm.
meet the one. They are ready. They've tried. They feel that they've done a lot of growth, but they just don't know how to do it in the modern world. And that's a specialty of mine. I know how to use online dating to find the right kind of people. I know how to communicate, how to weed out the ones we don't want. And so I have clients that completely outsource that to me. And I'll go as far as hooking them up with a stylist, hooking them up with a photographer, wherever they are in the country, and getting the absolute best profile pictures, getting the best profile that really reflects who they are and their
Mhm.
personality and their charm and their uniqueness. And so we have crazy, amazing results with that. But what I also find is that a lot of people aren't ready for that. They're like, whoa, Nelly. Whoa, Nelly, I don't even know if I'm ready for a relationship. I just broke up with someone. I'm still healing. I'm working on myself.
Mm.
And those are the people that I work with that I say, all right, let's work on you. You
Right.
single, you staying single? Let's make the most out of that. And instead of just pouting and eating ice cream and watching TV, let's actually work on yourself. Let's actually look below the tip of the iceberg and find out what beliefs are guiding your life.
Wow.
Why are
Yeah, but
you?
I believe that ice cream thing, it has its place. You just don't want to stretch that out into months. Like,
Totally.
have a couple of days
Feel.
of ice cream and binge watch Netflix. Like, okay, now
Mhm.
I'm done. What's
Yeah.
next? Hello, Whitney? Yeah, I'm ready. That's the
Right. Well, I mean, I think no, but what I think you're helping people with, especially with this new program, Love Yourself and Love Your Life, is that you are helping them being single in that being single stage of loving themselves, finding yourself, right? Discovering. Don't just take the time to mope and like say this is all the areas that that they went wrong or you went wrong, and hold yourself in as judge and juror, right? You know, take that chance to love yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're really walking people through those different aspects. You can definitely see Whitney Colburn. You can hire her as your love coach. If you've been stuck in single for like 5, 6, 7, 10.
you're in that single buffer. It's just going around. Single, single, single.
Yeah, if you've been buffering, even for 1 year, give her a call or go to her website. Her website is on the banner below, and she'll be able to guide you through the process and get you to the destination you need to be in. So, Whitney, thank you again for coming on and sharing the wonderful programs and things you have in place for those of us who are watching. And of course, we have our Lori Stye. She's coming up next at 12 p.m. So we'll definitely see you guys then for our next program. We are here to help you also, discover yourself financially. So she's going to walk us through that as well. Take care, everybody, and we will see you again in a few minutes. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Phil.